It's a whole vibe. Gotta keep it wavy, keep it chill, hold tight. Tell me how you feel, keep it real, no lie. Light another herb, let it burn through the sky. Right. Sipping on sangria, playing that's no Allegra. Hoping moments like this go on forever. Catch me lounging pajamas in a sweater. Especially when weather's looking sloppy. I turn into a homebody, cause it's the weekend. I don't feel like partying, I feel like sleeping. I don't work tomorrow, think I might just sleep in till about noonish. I've been working hard, think I deserve to do this like once in a while. Cause this isn't my usual style. My mind is moving past the limit every minute to mile. I appreciate the time when I can sit on the couch, turn the music up and just zone out, cause it's a whole vibe. Gotta keep it wavy, keep it chill, low tide. Tell me how you feel, keep it real, no lie. Light another herb, let it burn through the sky. Right, it's a whole vibe. Gotta keep it wavy, keep it chill, low tide. Tell me how you feel, keep it real, no lie. Light another herb, let it burn through the sky. Right, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
I might turn my phone off when I get in this mood. Only turn it back on when I'm ordering food. And when my pizza gets delivered, going back to disconnected. If you call me and I answer, I'll hang up and blame reception. Got a question or a message, I encourage you to text it. I'll see it when I see it, I'll hit you back soon. But now I stay in tune with this lazy afternoon. Like the roots in 94, asking do you want more? Yeah, I want less of the drama and stress. And interactions with people seeking my patience to test. You ain't cutting me a check, so I ain't giving you time to sacrifice my peace of mind. Cause it's a whole vibe. Gotta keep it wavy, keep it chill, low tide. Tell me how you feel, keep it real, no lie. Light another herb, let it burn through the sky. Right, it's a whole vibe. Gotta keep it wavy, keep it chill, low tide. Tell me how you feel, keep it real, no lie. Light another herb, let it burn through the sky. Right, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
Yeah, it's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 7:59. Look at that. Early. Ha! You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It is Tuesday, the 28th of June. We have a great guest today, a special edition today because it is primary day. You know that. If you have not yet voted, you must do your civic duty. But we have Senator Karina Villa with us. Hello there.
Hello, Curtis. How are you?
All right, all right. Good to see you. Good to see you. Everybody's here. Thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you for talking to us. We got a great amount of topics to discuss. But why is this day, to start off with, why is this day important in your words?
Absolutely. So our huge duty as citizens of this beautiful country is to get out and vote. It's our number one duty. It was something that was definitely instilled in me from the time I was a kid. My mom would go vote and she'd be like, let's go. You gotta do your duty. Gotta get it done. So make your voice heard. You know, it is a primary election. What does that mean? That means that you're going to go, you're going to ask, you're going to state that you're a Democrat or a Republican, you're going to get your ballot, and you're going to decide who the best person is to represent your party in that position. It is so critical to make your voice heard. You know, something I like to tell especially younger people is, do you still shop where your mom tells you to shop? Do you go and do absolutely, you know, do you order the exact same thing that your grandma orders from the menu? If the answer is no, why are you going to only allow them to do the voting? No.
That's right.
You got a voice too. Go vote.
That's right. Very important. And as we told you on this show, when you come downtown to vote at the Kane County Government Satellite Office, it's around here, 5 East Downer Place, Suite E, you are 68 feet from Good Morning Aurora. So you can do a twofer. Go vote, take a selfie in front of the studio, and tag us in it.
Awesome. Look at that. Getting it done, Aurora.
Democracy in action. Jennifer Ryan Mayton, good morning. Judge Renee Cruz is here. Good morning to you, Judge. Thank you for tuning in. Ebeth Palomo, good morning. Victoria Halamaldonado. Aisha Saxon had a birthday recently.
Happy birthday.
One of our great listeners. Jen Mendoza, good morning to you. And Josue, the owner and proprietor of Harry B's Dog Parlor. All right. So it's 8:02 a.m. Now, before we get started, we're going to delve into things methodically. The word of the day is methodically, ladies and gentlemen. My question is, the 25th District, what is it? What are its boundaries? What does it encompass?
All right, so the 25th District that I currently represent covers parts of Kane, DuPage, a little hair of Cook, and Kendall counties.
Okay.
So it is like, if you think out by Elgin, along Route 59, coming down through Bartlett, Wayne, West Chicago, St. Charles, Geneva, Batavia, a little part of Aurora, then it goes out to Oswego, Sugar Grove. If I'm forgetting anyone out there, I'm sorry. It's a pretty big map. Parts of the different municipalities. So that's what I currently represent.
Okay.
The seat that I'm running for is very different. So currently, every state Senate district has 2 state reps within it.
Okay.
So currently, I'm the senator for the 2 reps that I have are Democrat Maura Hirschauer is one of the state reps, and the other rep is Republican Keith Wheeler.
Right.
In the map that I am running for, because every 10 years there's a redistricting that happens.
That's right. It's been news on the show, ladies and gents.
So that's awesome. So in the new map, Maura Hirschauer will be one of my representatives, and Aurora's very own Representative Barbara Hernandez will be the other representative in the map.
Okay.
So there you have it.
The triple team. Watch out.
That's right. That's right. You heard it
Knocking
here first.
politics out. Bam. Judge Renee Cruz. Good morning, Senator Villa. All right. Thank you very much, Judge.
Good morning, Judge.
Okay. So we are we're now in a post-Roe world. What are your thoughts?
Can you believe it, Curtis?
You know, unfortunately, sadly, quite sadly, I'm not shocked, and that's unfortunate. That's the unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Sadly, but I am shocked. Yeah.
So I was out knocking on doors yesterday, and I spoke to a woman, and she was, you know, an older lady who said to me that she remembered when she lived in a state where abortion was not legal, and she had to cross the border into a different state in order to have her abortion. And she was devastated by this news. She has daughters and granddaughters, and the first thing she did when Roe versus Wade was overturned, they live in different places across the country. She first looked immediately to see, do my daughters and granddaughters live in a safe state? That's the first thing she did, to make sure that if her daughters or granddaughters needed to access an abortion, that they would be able to legally do so. And she was very relieved when she saw that, yes, they live in a safe state. Like Illinois is, Curtis.
Right.
In Illinois, we made sure that reproductive rights were between the person and their doctor.
Right. Absolutely. Which wow, I really, it's such an intrusion as a as a man on the literal physical outside looking in. It's such an intrusion. And I did see a lot of my friends, and I feel their comments like, if that can be lost, what won't they take away from
That's
you?
right.
So it's really scary. Now, Governor Pritzker called for a special session. What does that mean, and what work can be done here in Illinois?
So we've already done a lot, but we want to make sure that Illinois remains a safe haven for others that need to come to Illinois in order to access an abortion in a safe way.
Okay.
So we're looking at different ideas. One of the ideas is actually Representative Hirschauer carried this bill. It passed in the House but didn't make it through in the Senate. Was doctors that are practicing in states where now it's illegal to have an abortion, those doctors can come and practice in Illinois without having any red tape to be able to do that.
Okay.
So that's one of the potential bills that we'll be looking at to pass.
Okay. You said it didn't pass in the Senate.
It did not pass in the Senate. We had a very condensed session last time around.
Okay.
So usually we're done with session at the end of May, and this time we were done in April. So the session was very short. So we're heading back and see what we can do to make sure that people know that Illinois is one of the safest places in the country for reproductive rights.
Okay. A session is a gathering of the lawmakers, then, I gather.
That's
okay.
right.
All right. Okay. See, I didn't know that. See, that's how we do here. We just get the question like, hold on now. So that's what a session is. Got to learn.
That's right.
Yep. Special session.
Right.
Okay. Now, but nothing has changed. We're a safe haven. So our laws have not been affected. You guys are going to strengthen them.
That's right. And can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, please.
Can I tell you a quick story? Okay, so when I got elected along with other freshman women in 2018, when we ran, we told the people that we were going to make sure that reproductive health was protected in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
In 2019, during our first, it's called a freshman session because we were newly elected.
Right.
We were told that the Reproductive Health Act was dead, that there was no way that this bill was going to survive. It was, basically roadkill. Like,
right.
This bill, we were not going to vote on it, and the bill was dead. So there was Representative Barbara Hernandez and I were actually renting a house, and we invited people to come over, a bunch of the freshman women to come over. So we're sitting around and we're getting outraged. Why can't we get this bill on the board so people can vote for it to protect rights in the state of Illinois?
Right.
So we started doing a roll call. What that means is you have a sheet of paper with the names of every single state representative on it, and you have a yes, a no, and a maybe. So you go through literally one by one whether we have the amount of votes needed to pass the bill. Once we had exactly the amount of votes that we needed, we went to the speaker and we said, here it is, speaker. Here's the sheet. Here's the roll call. Put the bill on the board because we want to vote for it. As a result of that unification of that work that took days, it took days to work the roll call, and people who were maybes, to say to them, please consider turning your maybe into a yes. And we got just exactly the amount of votes required at the time, and we passed the bill. And as a result of that bill that we voted on in 2019, when Roe versus Wade was overturned, the state of Illinois remains a safe state for women to access abortions.
Got it. Interesting.
And that was as a result of people like Representative Barbara Hernandez and myself being there to not only to vote, but to advocate to get the bill called on the board.
What's it like turning a person who's a maybe into a yes.
Curtis?
What's that? I mean, you are good with the. I like the nuts and bolts of the machine.
Yes!
I have to tell you, I like the gear shifting. That's what I like. What's that like?
It's tough.
Okay.
You have to go and you have to compel people.
You're dealing with a person on the personal level.
On the personal level, you have to bring personal stories sometimes. Sometimes you got to tell a personal story to one of your colleagues. Sometimes you have to talk to them about how this is going to impact their constituents, how this could potentially impact their family members, right? You have to know your colleagues. You have to know what makes them tick. You have to know what's important to them. And through those connections that you've built, you can then, convince someone to come over to your side. You can compel them to come over to your side. It's hard work. But we got it done.
Congratulations.
And thank you. There's times that you can get it done, and on other bills, other occasions, it's a little harder, and you just got to say, okay, we didn't get it done this session, but next session we're going to work and we're going to talk to our colleagues.
We lost the battle,
yes,
but the war goes on.
The war goes on, that's right.
All right, Nora Peterson, good morning to you. Hello, everybody. Good to see you guys. It is primary day. We have a very special guest. As you can see, we have Senator Karina Villa in the house with us. Karim Martinez, good morning. My friend Ale Hernandez, good morning. And Maria, good morning to you as well. Okay, so next question. You're the vice chair of the Behavioral and Mental Health Committee. Our show applauds these efforts addressing mental health. We've had a lot of people come on and talk about their work and their different advocacy. So thank you very much for that. What are the priorities and activities of the committee?
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, for those of you who don't know, I'm actually a school social worker. That's what I did before running for office. I was a school social worker for 15 years. So if you hear me out in the community, if you ever hear someone say, hey, Ms. Villa, you know that was one of my students.
That's got to feel real good.
It's the best title.
I bet
it's the best title I've ever had.
It's better than senator?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Those are my kids.
That.
Those are my kids.
Like
They're
that.
amazing. That's the future. So my passion is with mental health, and because of my students is why I ran. Because back in the day, I don't know if you remember, when Rauner was in office, there was a budget impasse where he wasn't passing the budget. As a result of not passing a budget, you start cutting services. Why? Because there's no money for the services, social services. So I felt the direct impact on my students. I felt the direct impact on the families. When I was calling to say, Joey needs a therapist, and I would call the different organizations who usually would be like, sure, send them right over. It was like, there's a 3-month waiting list, and then there's a 6-month waiting list, then there's a 1-year waiting list, and finally I would call and people would say, we're not open for waiting lists because the list is too long.
Right.
So that was awful. People were dying. People were dying in those times. People were committing suicide. People were overdosing. It was a horrible time. So I kept complaining, and I said to myself, I got to stop complaining and try to do something about it. So that's why I ran for office. So mental health, the Mental Health Committee is very important to me. So any kind of legislation that any legislator wants to pass in relation to mental health, whether it's kids' mental health or adults, it comes through the Mental Health Committee. And we get to determine whether it's a good bill or not and make the recommendation whether this bill should go on then to be voted on with the senators, right, on the floor. So one really awesome thing that's going to be happening right this Thursday is that we're actually going to be having what's called a subject matter hearing. Okay. We have in the state of Illinois over 250 children in Illinois who are waiting psychiatric care facility. Okay, there's a wait list that's that long for kids who need psychiatric care. Yes, that's awful. If you need to be in a psychiatric care facility, that means that your level of crisis is here, right? there's differences when it comes to mental health. It could be, you just need some help from a friend or maybe from some adults. You need to surround yourself and get a little bit of assistance.
Right.
You should probably start seeing a therapist maybe once a week. You need something a little more intense, maybe some medication plus therapy. You could potentially need like a program where you go to every single day and you go home at night. And then there's like the acute, you need to be hospitalized because you are in danger,
right?
Yourself or others, right? It's a crisis. A crisis response means you need to go to the hospital. You need to be hospitalized immediately.
Right.
You have 250 people in the state of Illinois who are awaiting placement.
Wow.
For those acute facilities. Those who we don't talk about much are the youth who are detained.
Right.
So if you have, if you're in, for example, a youth detention center for having been accused of committing a crime and you're waiting to go to speak to a judge, and if you're going through some suicidal ideation, that facility isn't trained to give you that kind of intervention, A, and B, you're still a child, right? You have rights. You're a child with rights. And there's nowhere for these kids to go. So what we're doing on Thursday is we're going to have a subject matter hearing. And this is as a direct result of, I have advisory committees within the 25th district.
Okay.
One of the advisory committees is a mental health advisory committee. The people on that mental health advisory committee come to me and tell me about the different types of problems that are happening within the community. They're professionals, but also just regular people who are interested in the subject.
Right.
So they have been talking to me for a few years about this issue. So as a result of this, we're having a subject matter hearing, and all of the senators who are on the mental health committee will be listening to members of my local mental health advisory committee about this topic in particular.
How many senators are on it?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question, and I am going to have to owe you an answer to that. I'm going to owe you the answer, Curtis.
You told me all about subject matter hearings. Oh, good. So the people who make up the committee, and that's what it is. So that's local participation, open to anyone.
That's
in the
right.
district.
Yeah, I have a mental health advisory committee, youth advisory committee. Actually, sorry, I take that back. Education. It's called Education Advisory Committee, environment, and senior advisory committees.
Okay.
They all meet once a month. I co-run them with Representative Maura Hirschauer. Anyone is invited. If you're interested in the subject area, you can just go to my website. We have on the website the dates that we meet, and you come in. And as a result, my senior advisory committee, they brought to me a bill idea, and we worked that bill so hard, and we finally passed it, and J.B. Pritzker just signed it into law, and that was a direct result of the seniors on my senior advisory committee.
Hey.
And now with this, the mental health advisory committee, we're having a subject matter hearing. This is all as a result of people within the district coming to these meetings locally and saying, Karina, here's an issue. We want to find a solution. And that's the power of becoming involved when your state senator says, hey, come out, give me some feedback. You can have direct impact.
You can have direct impact when your state senator asks for feedback. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here. Like that. You can have an impact when your state senator asks for feedback. Oh, It's got a nice
That's right.
ring to it. Mr. Barrero, good morning. I would like to serve on the Education Committee. Well, thank you, Dan.
I
you
got
serve
your
a
number,
lot.
Dan.
Leo Zarco, good morning to you. Norma Peterson, hello. And Tracy Duran, good morning to you as well. So, as I mentioned, got some of those local headlines and topics to give to the people. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got your local news for you. The time is now 8:20 a.m. It's Tuesday. It's primary day. Very important day. Please go vote if you have not. To my friends at Treadwell, who I just saw this morning saying that they would go vote as soon as the center opened up. The coffee's good, and we appreciate you guys for doing that. Good morning, Karina. I'm so glad to finally vote for you. You and Barbara the best. Matthew Orr, thank you. Dear friend of the show. All right, so here, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk real quick. National Night Out is coming. This will be August 2nd of this year from 6 to 8:30 p.m., encompassing all of, well, the entire nation. But all of Kane County especially. Shouts out to the Kane County Sheriff Ron Hain and the Kane County Sheriff's Department for all the great work that they do. Are you familiar with Kane County 211? Well, if you aren't, get connected, get answers. Operators are standing by to answer your questions 24/7, 365. One free call to 211 connects you with all human services in Kane County. Save 211 in your contact list for future reference. 211 is free and confidential. Information referral hotline help is available in more than 150 languages.
Amazing.
Come on.
Yeah.
Here, ladies and gentlemen, in Kane County.
Just pick up the phone, 211. If you have any questions, pick up the phone and call 211. This is a huge resource for Kane County folks. When I have constituents call my office, sometimes we got really complicated cases. If they live in Kane County, guess what the number one thing I say to them? Have you called 211 yet?
Right.
It's an amazing resource. Use it.
Use it. All right. And last piece of news real quick, you guys. The American Legion Roosevelt Aurora Post 84. Don't forget, Sunday, July 3rd is going to be their car show on historic Auto Row, which is a South Street here in Aurora. Lineup begins at 9 o'clock a.m. The entire event will go from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will be a 50-50 raffle as well. And registration, again, starts at 9. Awards will be at 2:30 p.m. I'll tell you about the awards. That's when you see these guys light up, right? Grandpa Russell with his 1946 Ford Fairline, you know? Oh, Grandpa Russell. Great. Shout out to Grandpa Russell if there is one. More information, you can call 630-474-5084. The number again is 630-474-5084. The time is 8:22 a.m. Gonna go vote today. Thank you, Allie. Anita Lewis, great show. Going into vote. Thank you very much. And Allie, car show is going to be fun. Great. Okay, so you know our parade. Before we get back to the stuff here, our parade is going to be a second day parade. It's going to be a procession this year.
I heard.
Doing a procession.
I heard, yeah. I was pretty bummed because we were registered to participate.
Right.
Yeah, I love the Aurora 4th of July parade.
You guys come deep. You come really, you guys take up like both sides of the street when you march. You guys are,
we got our DJ.
Yeah, you do. Yep. I've been at a good number of parades and seen the Villa team out there. So
it's fun.
It is a good time.
I love Aurora. So yeah, I heard about the procession. Is it gonna be the same route?
No. So the route has recently been published online, but the route is like it starts at a fire station, starts at some government facility and ends at a fire station. Okay. But they're gonna make a pass through downtown kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll, hey, be a procession.
All right.
I was thinking though, because I'm kind of a poetic dude. I was thinking, given the disappointment recently via the Supreme Court, perhaps things are not flowery, traditional, right? Maybe we do deserve just a procession. Maybe. Anyway, the time is 8:24 a.m. So let's get back to more important and uplifting things like the law and the bills and things.
How a bill becomes a bill, Curtis.
Okay. So we talked about your current Senate or what you're running for and what's currently. Let's talk about the IAFCC, the Illinois Association of Free and Charitable Clinics.
Yes.
What's that?
Yes. So, you know, healthcare, in my opinion, is a human right. Okay.
Yep.
So there are these in Illinois, these free and charitable clinics that have been doing really good work for people who are uninsured. And they've been doing this work for many, many years without receiving any kind of state funding.
Wow.
So when I got elected to office, I started learning more and more about this.
Shocking just to think about that.
Yeah, yeah. So I started learning more and more about these free and charitable clinics and hearing about their impact in our communities.
Right.
Okay. And so I was approached and, there was two things that I was asked. First, I was asked to bring a resolution, which we did. We passed Senate Resolution 960 that declares August of 22 as Free and Charitable Clinic Month to help highlight the amazing work that these clinics do. I was also approached and asked to help carry a bill to bring money, state money, to these free and charitable clinics. They were hoping that they would get ARPA dollars, like a one-time ARPA dollar kind of
American Rescue Plan Act
that's
dollars.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. They're like, well, it would be nice if we got some of those dollars.
Right.
So I had the opportunity to sit with Governor Pritzker and talk to him a little bit about these clinics. And I told him about the request, which is a request for ARPA dollars. And he said, Senator, why don't we do one up? Instead of just doing a one-time ARPA dollar, why don't we make the free and charitable clinics its own line item in our budget where we can make sure that year after year, these free and charitable clinics who are doing such amazing work will receive state dollars.
Wow. Magnificent.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah. So we started off with $9 million. That's what they got this year. They were like floored.
That is awesome.
They were floored. But it's like there's these phenomenal doctors in the state of Illinois that volunteer their time at these free and charitable clinics. Yeah.
I didn't even know that free and charitable clinics existed until I saw your the clinic and your mark. It was the ad basically. I think that that's an untapped gem and a resource. Like I feel happy to hear you say and let us know about these clinics, but I also feel just like hoodwinked and bamboozled that they're out there doing this kind of work and they've been doing it for this long without any funding or state funding.
They do. It's just private money that they have to go out and ask people for.
Right.
And now we have this line item. I'm just going to put this out there, Chris, just because I think a lot of times when people think free and charitable, they kind of have a certain image as to what community needs this.
Right.
I just went to go visit one of these free and charitable clinics in my district in almost smack downtown in beautiful St. Charles, Illinois.
Which is the opposite of what you mentally think about when you hear free and charitable clinic. Right.
That's why I'm saying it, because when you need healthcare, you need healthcare. And there are people living in poverty in many different spaces and towns and communities.
That is
so it's important for people to understand when we do this work, this is life-saving work for people, not just in the community that first comes to your mind, but in communities everywhere.
I think the pandemic showed a lot of that too.
That's right.
The pandemic brought, there was a little bit of, not necessarily a cover, but there was a collective way of thought here in the country that just kind of stigmatized, even lightly. But the pandemic and people not being able to go out or access food, like people who had never been in a food line before, had to start using food pantries. Extremely humbling. And I think that the pandemic really really showed that how many people are, or rather, it showed how many people are already on the line or were on the line, and what happens when they fall through the cracks.
That's right.
Wow, that's really huge. How can people find out about this place? What's their information?
That is a really great question. Is
that another answer I can get on the next episode?
Darn it! I wish I had it, because I think they do have a website, but I'm gonna get you the information so you can get it to the audience.
Sure.
Because that really is a great question.
Yeah, because
But you know who I think might be able to give that answer quickly is 211.
Ah.
Hey, come on now.
Well done.
211.
Well done. That's what we call the old setup. That was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. Okay, so here's the next question. And I have to say, when the terminology here, SB 3774, what's this bill? What is this bill for those who are not familiar with it? And SB is Senate bill.
That's right.
There's SB and HB, Senate bill and House bill.
Yep. That's right. That's right. So this is the Senator Aquino's bill, which increases it incrementally will increase the amount of earned income tax credit that is equal to 18% of the federal earned income tax credit to 20%. Okay. So in 2023, it'll be 22%, 2024. Wait, let me get that right. Hold on a second. 20% for 2023, okay. 22% for 2024, and 25% for 2025, and each year after it keeps going. The big deal for this is that the bill is going to allow taxpayers between 18 and 24 years of age and 65 or older, as well as taxpayers who use an ITIN number to claim the earned income credit if they would otherwise qualify. Basically what that means is we're expanding the amount of people who can qualify for this here in Illinois.
Right.
Our working families really need it.
Right.
The cost of living is going up.
Absolutely.
And our seniors need this, as well as our folks who are undocumented. They pay into our tax system. They pay into our communities. They deserve to be able to do this. So it's a huge win for the immigrant community here in the state of Illinois to be able to access this money.
Were they those with using the ITIN number? Now, what other benefits do folks have using the ITIN number that they may not know about? And if they're myriad, we can. If there's a place that we can go to, a good location, a website, that's fine.
There is a lot of different things. One other thing that we just passed, a bill that I passed with regards to the ITIN number, is healthcare professionals, that you can go to school for these health-related fields and then end up getting a license with an ITIN number. So I had heard that there was a problem with these students who were wanting to go into the health field because you needed to pre-register before taking classes. You needed to pre-register with your social security number. Well, there's folks who don't have social security numbers who want to go into the healthcare field. They want to go into school, and this was a roadblock for them. So it was a bill that I carried, and it just passed and was signed into law by Governor Pritzker. So now that opens the doors for a whole bunch of folks who in the past would not have been able to go into these fields.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
big win for them.
It's a big deal.
Now, this is going to be perhaps the easy answer, the low-hanging fruit, but I'm just curious. What is or rather, is there holdup or pushback when it comes to making changes for folks using ITIN numbers? Is there a battle when one wishes to expand services for folks using ITIN numbers?
Totally.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I think that it's just very partisan. I think that there are some folks who just have it in their brains that it's like anything that goes to help people who are undocumented is something we shouldn't do. But there is also a big group of people, including folks who have considered themselves Republican, who do want to see immigration reform,
right,
and who do want to see this happen because they see the need for it in our country and in our communities. So I don't want to stigmatize it being like one thing, one party versus the other, because it's not always that way.
Right.
Sometimes when you see the votes, it is that way. But that's when people need to put pressure on their elected officials. You need to pay attention. How is my elected official voting for some of these things?
Right.
And if I disagree with them, I need to pick up the phone and I need to call them.
Right.
So one other big thing that happened, and I don't know, Curtis, if you've heard, that in Illinois, it's the first state in the nation that we passed monumental legislation. Like I told you earlier, I think healthcare is a human right. And we passed for people who are 42 years old and older, legislation saying that regardless of documentation status, you can qualify for Medicaid if you're within a certain level of income. So it's like very low income levels.
Right.
Will qualify for Medicaid. First state in the country to provide Medicaid for people regardless of their documentation status.
That's awesome. That is definitely
It's a very big
win.
deal.
Big win.
A very big deal. The Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus worked diligently to get that piece of legislation passed.
Carolyn Bird Salazar is here. Good morning, Karina, is what she says.
Carolyn.
Good morning to you, all of you great people. If you are just tuning in, we have Senator Karina Villa here on the show. First time on the show. I'm more nervous than she is. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you. All right. Michael Rayford, good morning to you as well. And Representative Hernandez is here. Hi, Rumi. Hey.
Hey, Rumi.
All right. Okay. So next, and that's actually just to go back on that topic just real quick.
Sure.
That's why I actually framed it that way, because I know that it's not just a no, the party of no. It is people have to respond to their constituency. So everything is going to be not the vote one or a colleague would expect. That's one thing I've learned, and I feel proud to have learned and seen that people have constituents to respond to. You ever wonder why a person voted for something like that? They have constituents to respond to, I think, first and foremost, right? Yeah. Is that a fair assessment?
It is a fair assessment, and there's also a few times in your life where you will be a legislator where you will say, I am going to vote my switch. I am going to vote yes. And if this is the vote that I go home on, it's worth it.
Word. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
There are some bills that are that important.
Absolutely. That's
reproductive health bill. That was one of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Now, you can't do that with every single bill, okay?
Of course not. Of course not.
Then
right.
You're definitely going home.
You have to make consensus. Of course not. Yeah, exactly.
But something I always say as a legislator, too, if I can go home and explain this bill, if I can go to the doors, knock on doors, and talk to my constituents and tell them, this is why I voted for this bill. If I can explain it at the doors, then I'm good. But you have to put in that extra effort. You have to go and be accessible to your constituents, right?
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing just stickers of like different politicians, growing up in my life on my aunt's door or kitchen fridge or whatever, just seeing these stickers, some of them faded, Cook County people running for stuff, and they loved them so much. The sticker was faded, it was old, it was ripped, but because that person voted to increase the pay for CTA bus drivers in 1980, my auntie will never take that sticker down. That's what that's I respect that. I respect that.
I love it. That's
the time
awesome.
is 8:39 a.m. William Miller III is here. Good morning to you, William Miller. Good to see you, my brother. Buenos dias. Peter Aguilera, good to see you. And Bianca Camargo is here. Hey, Judge.
Judge, what's up?
What is up? Okay, so let's keep going here. Now, you did segue, wonderful, the Latino Caucus. Let's talk about the Latino Caucus. Who are the members, and what do you guys do besides saving the world one piece of legislation at a time, right?
So the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus is amazing. We have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Representative Hernandez, if you're still on, 16 members.
Okay.
And that's in the House and in the Senate. So in order to be a member of the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus, you have to identify as being Latino. And what we do is we actually have a document called Raíces, that means roots. And in this document, it outlines what our top priorities are in general.
Okay.
Language access and availability, for example, healthcare, workers' rights, education parity. There's all these different subjects that we have outlined in this document.
Okay.
And every session, all of the members of the Latino Caucus will present to each other their bill ideas that fall under any of these subject areas and will impact the Latino community in Illinois.
Okay.
And then as a whole, we decide which of these bills are we going to champion as a Latino caucus. And then we outline it per section. We will outline every session what are the bills that we are going to champion, and we deliver the bill. It's like, it gives me chills. We deliver a packet to the governor, to the Senate president, and to the Speaker of the House. And we say, this is what the Illinois Legislative Latino Caucus priorities are for this session. And then you go into session and you fight. Okay. And you pass a lot of bills, and a few of them might not pass, and you just bring those bills that didn't pass, you bring them back to the forefront for the next session. And it's amazing. It is amazing work.
And is that when you see the board up there with your name and the bill
the vote? Yep.
The vote board?
The vote board. Yep. That's where the vote board is. So the Raíces document pertains. So I might carry, last session I think I carried 25 bills. And out of those 25, maybe 7 of them are part of the Latino caucus priorities. Okay. The rest of them aren't.
Okay.
And that's the same for all of the legislators who belong to the Latino caucus.
Okay.
We take from our agenda, we take the Latino related bills, and we say to the rest of our colleagues in the Latino caucus, do we all think that this is a good bill to champion as a Latino caucus?
Gotcha.
Yes or no? Then the bill goes on to our document, which is called Raíces.
Okay.
That document, we present it to the heads, the governor, the president, the speaker, and then we go in and we into session, right. And we work through our bills, and everyone knows these are the Latino caucus priority bills.
Okay, so that's what it's like then. That's the fighting when you're in session. Session is,
yeah.
These are my words, not yours. Is that where you're duking it out in session? Is session where the jousting is happening?
Session is where you have, it's where the bills either go. You work your bill until the last possible second to get it across the finish line. How do you get a bill across the finish line? If it's a House bill, if I'm a House member, mm-hmm. I will take my House bill, present it in committee. From committee, it goes to the floor. If it passes committee, it goes to the floor. Okay. If it passes the floor, it heads to the Senate. Okay. You ask your Senate sponsor to pick up the bill. They take it to committee. Then if it passes committee, it goes to the floor. Then it goes to the governor for signing.
Okay.
What can happen? A lot can happen.
Anything could happen.
Your bill, from the very beginning, your bill can die because administration says this is not a good bill. We're not going to call it. This isn't the right time for the bill. We're not going to even put it into a committee.
That's gotta be frustrating.
It's so hard, especially because it's like it's your baby, this bill,
right.
you know, you want it to make, or someone can hijack your bill. People hijack bills.
They what?
Yes.
They hijack your bill?
Hijack your bill.
What?
Yes, there's ways.
Swagger
There's
jacket.
ways. When I go to talk to my students, right? I go into to talk to classrooms, and I'll be like, yeah, and just when you think your bill's gonna make it, it dies. Or you could hijack someone else's bill. The kids are like, oh, tell us how else you can kill a bill. How can you kill a bill? Like, they get so excited.
I like
it's
that.
fun to talk about, except for when it's happening to your bill, then it's not fun to talk about. But then that's where unity comes in, and that's where your relationship building comes in, and that's where you're, you know, whether it's a bill, for example, the Reproductive Health Act was a group of freshman women who banded together and said, we're doing this. And then you know, some of these Latino bills, it's the entire Latino caucus. So now it's not just you with your little bill walking around. It's like you have a whole caucus behind you saying this is an important bill. And of course, we have the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. And a lot of times the Latino caucus and the Black caucus come together to get bills passed. We've got a lot of power in numbers between the Latino caucus and the Black caucus, and it's really important for us to work together to make sure to bring our voices to the forefront. So
that's awesome. The time is 8:46 a.m. Good morning, everybody. If you're just tuning in, get ready to rock the vote. It's primary election day.
That's right.
So yeah, let's. This is a good conversation.
Thanks, Curtis. I'm having a blast.
This is very informative. And I, like I said, these are questions from a novice perspective. So I'm sorry if that, but I'm just learning it.
But it's important because that takes the scariness away from when you come talk to a legislator. Right. Now you kind of understand what the process is, right? Informing yourself it's really critical. Yeah. And to be able to ask questions. Like, I love it. It's great.
I've seen and dug around in ILJA and all that, and that's a very formidable thing in its own. But when you learn and you know what to look for, I saw witness slips. I learned about that. That's very powerful and impactful. But it also goes to show you that that's a way that people can you can get your voice heard. Your voice can be heard. And the voices that are doing some speaking up may not be your voice. So you need to add your voice.
That's right. ILGA.gov. Just go and play around in there. Look me up. You can go and look up each state rep, each senator. You can look up what committees we serve on. You can find out what bills I've sponsored, what bills I've co-sponsored. And that gives you a flavor as to who your representative is, what their priorities are. It's really important.
Absolutely. All right. Books. The time is 8:47. We got some knowledge is power. That's right, Josue. We got some stuff to go through. Okay. Books for Scoops. What's that about? What's that?
Before the show started, I was telling Curtis that I loved being a school social worker. It was one of my favorite things I've ever done in my life. I did it for 15 years. And so whenever I can find ways to interact with students again, it's my favorite thing, right? Okay. Whether I'm going into the classroom and presenting to kids. So any teachers out there who want me to come talk to their kids once school starts, give us a call. I would love to do it.
All right.
But Books for Scoops is my way of, over the summer, staying in touch with the students. So I have 2 events this summer. One is in Batavia at Batavia Creamery on 4 North Island Avenue in Batavia on August 9th from 1 until 3. So I just need you to bring a list of the books that you've read this summer, and I'll ask you about a few of the books, and then I'll give you I think it's going to be a sundae, a little gift certificate for you to get a sundae at the Batavia Creamery.
Okay.
And the other one is going to be at Jorge's Paleteria in West Chicago, 110 South Nelt North, on August 16th from 1 until 3. Same thing, bring me a list of the books that you've read, and you will get, I think for that one, it's a scoop of ice cream. So it should be a good time. 2 really amazing small businesses, and reading, that's what it's all about. Put down your devices, kids. Read a book, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
That's right. Yeah.
Read some books.
Yep, exactly.
Yes.
Parents, put down your devices and read a book too. You know, I mean, you're never too old to read a book.
That's right.
I've always loved the printed word. Do you have a favorite book?
Ooh. So when I was in my teens, I got into Sandra Cisneros, and I'm going to tell you why I got into her. It's very rare to find women of color authors. So when I first got introduced to Sandra Cisneros, I was just like, whoa, like, this is a Latina. She's raised in Chicago, and she's writing about things that make sense to me. So I think just looking back, that nostalgia of having discovered Sandra Cisneros was really important to me. So her books are top on my list. Maria Hinojosa is a reporter who has written a book, and I read her book. I go back to it over and over again because she's another phenomenal writer who I just admire greatly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in West Chicago. Still live right there in West Chicago. There's a cemetery down the street for me. I think that maybe I'll be buried in West Chicago. I lived there my whole life. Went to school there. Went to the elementary school through high school. I won't tell you what year I graduated, but West Chicago.
West Chicago. All right. West Chicago, born and raised. A lot of good stuff in West Chicago. West Chicago's growing, expanding. Lots of new things. What's some of the changes you've seen in your time?
There's a lot of there's a lot of factories going up over in West Chicago. There's a lot of industry. We actually have a long history of that because the town used to be called Turner Junction.
Turner
Junction. So it was a railroad town, and the railway, it was a great way of transporting the goods. Right. So, it's still a kind of a hub for factories, manufacturers that come in, great work and produce some great things. But of course, number one shout out is to the workers who work there.
Right. That's right. Now, one question that we were going to talk about was social media, and just your opinion in the national dialogue that we have every day. Is social media helping, or is it detracting? Is it taking away from our shared experience? What's your opinion?
I think that social media can have some benefits. I think that the everyday person is getting burnt out from social media. I believe that there's a people are having a difficult time deciphering between what's real, what's not real. I passed a bill recently for media literacy, making sure that kids in school are understanding what is fact and what is opinion on social media. This is so critical. I see the divisiveness. It's so easy, Curtis, to just type some real mean things that you might regret later. It's like you're hiding behind your screen, you type something up, you post it, and people start growing this divide where before you used to be able to just go and talk to your neighbor. Now people feel divided and like you can't approach your neighbor. I spend countless of hours knocking on doors, right? It's what I do. It's how I connect to people. You would be surprised how many people are willing and open to just have a dialogue. Right. Your neighbor isn't scary. People are genuinely willing to have conversations. Sure, you'll have a bad, door once in a while where you knock and people are just like completely outlandish and rude and sometimes mean. But maybe they're just having a bad day. Right. But when you're hiding behind a screen, the divide just really grows. I think the personal connection we're really missing out on that. And I do believe that that's all impacting our mental health as well.
Okay. No, I totally agree too. I think that the use or the benefits of social media are really great. I mean, you can read National Geographic and go to their Instagram, but also it's just so the whole social media sphere is just chock full of just the absolute worst stuff, which is not helping. It's sending the wrong kind of messages too. And also, it's not highlighting what people should be highlighting. I mean, people need to know about free and charitable clinics, need to, donate blood and stuff like that. And it frustrates me because, like, when you try to send out one good message, and before 10 a.m., right? Some nonsense that's not helping anybody, or it's detracting from. It's hateful, it's divisive. That's what's made the rounds, and that's what's gone viral. It's very unfortunate. Anyway, the time is 8:55 a.m. What episode? This was great. This was great.
Amazing. This is so much fun. This is so much fun.
Glad to meet you and talk to you. Yes. So the show ends on a positive note. What's your message today for the people of Aurora?
People of Aurora, make your voice count. Your voice is your vote. Go to the polls. Get it done. It's quick. It's easy. It's accessible. And our future really depends on it. So go vote.
Right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we hope that you guys have a great rest of the day. We appreciate Senator Villa for coming on the show this morning. It's Tuesday. You're right around the corner from us, the studio. If you go and vote, please do so. Do your duty. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Take care of yourself and each other.